What's going on, everyone? Train Freak here, and today you're going to watch me build a wall which is going to hold the part of the layout that's going to go out to the middle of the room. Now the first thing I have to do is disassemble the old wall from the old layout, which you can see that I'm doing now, and I'm going to try to save as much of that lumber as possible and use it in the future. The top and the bottom will actually end up going towards this new wall that we're going to build as well. Now this piece that I'm disassembling was the old corner section. The new corner section is actually going to be longer. In order to build this wall, you're going to need a big open area. So I'm using my chop saw, I've got a drill, small impact screw gun, tape measure, pencil, and a speed square. Of course, always double check to make sure your measurements are right. And I'm going to go ahead and set up my sawhorses because that board there is actually one of the bottoms. So I'm measuring 1.5 inches for the width of the 2x4 on both ends, marking those with my speed square so that way I know where to attach my next 2x4s. And I am marking 16-inch centers. Now I needed the total height of this wall to be 79 inches high. So I actually cut these at 76 because when you factor the top and the bottom 2x4 being 1.5 inches each, that's 3 inches. Now that I cut the top, I'm just using my speed square just to line up the lines for the boards. Alright, so now I'm going to start screwing these in. I'm using two 2.5 inch screws. You definitely want at least 2.5 inches. You can use 3 if you want to, but 2.5 is enough to make that a sturdy, good bite in connection. And like I said, I'm doing 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Just make sure everything's lined up, looks good. And then we're going to set this first piece in place. Now I took out my big square just to try to get that thing squared on the wall. And ironically it is freestanding right now, but I'm taking some of that scrap wood and I'm cutting at a 45-degree angle to basically make it to where I don't have to worry about it leaning one direction or another. And I'm also using those same 2.5 inch screws to hold these in place, and you want to do 2 of them. If you got 1 screw, it's just going to spin, so that's why it's very important that you use 2 screws. You can use the 3rd one if you want to, but for me those 2 feet are going to be temporary. Now I'm using the existing top and bottom from the wall that we just took apart. And as you can see, that those 2 pieces were beveled, and those long pieces are beveled as well. And when you put those together, it comes to a 45-degree angle. So just like before, we're just going to cut our boards. Now I'm cutting those 2 small scrap pieces with the 45 cut off to be, to be the feet. And now we're going to start putting this wall together in itself. The total length of this wall was over 100 inches, so that's why I'm having to build it into sections. Now one of the nice things is since this wall already had the markings, I didn't have to go remark this wall and just putting them where they go. And it also already had the screw holes, so I didn't have to worry about drilling pilot holes either. Alright, now that our wall is put together, I'm just moving my stuff out of the way. Lift the wall up, pick it up, set it in. Now I'm just putting my feet on just to keep it from falling over. And the next thing I'm going to do is just try to get her lined up and get some screws in there. And in order to get the screws in properly, I've grabbed some clamps. So I'm going to clamp the very top together and the very bottom. Just to make sure that joint between both wall sections are flush. And then we're going to pop more of those 2.5-inch screws. And what I'm doing is I'm going on the other side and popping them in halfway between each screw on the first side that we did. That way it's screwed in from both sides. Alrighty, so we have our wall up and going. And so the next thing we're going to do is work on getting bench work. I've got a line drawn here that goes all the way to that bench work there. And the focus today is just mainly getting the bench work from there to here. There will be a very slim or not so wide bench work on this side because this is going to be a staging track for the Rock Island local. And then this side's going to be the layout. It's going to curve this way, follow that direction. And what you don't see here, this is the top and the bottom. This is the existing piece that I used. So you can see it's got this little lip here, and that is a 22.5 degree cut. So the next section will have a 22.5 degree cut, and this is going to make our wall come out 45 degrees. And then I'll show you when we go that direction, or when we get to that point, I will show you how to do that and how to feel the V on the inside of the wall. So.